Officially live, back for another pit stop here on Standard H alongside the podcast. Hopefully I'll be able to figure out this video and exporting it as well in order to get it up to YouTube. As I recall, I had an issue last time where I couldn't upload it, but I might be wrong. I need to check that. Welcome everybody to another live Scotland. Hello. Hi to everyone else on who's joined. I'm excited to be on here for a litany of reasons. There's a lot of recap. There's a lot of news. There's only a few questions though. So I had 15 last time, I think. I have 4 today. I'm disappointed. I'm just kidding. It just means the episode will be shorter, which was fine because the last one was certainly longer than anticipated at like an hour. So let's just get into it. I've got like a list of things to talk about to catch everybody up on some travel stuff. The last pit stop I did was mid-September, which means it happened just before I went to the Toronto Timepiece show. Now, that show was a success, I would say, in general. It was, how do I define success, I guess is a good question. Usually, if it's profitable, it's great. If it's not profitable and I break even, I consider that certainly a success. And if I'm losing money, it just depends on how much money I'm losing, I guess. And there are varying degrees of monetary loss in some of these events that I've done in the past several years. If it's only just like a little bit of cash, then it's still sort of worth it because, you could chalk it up to, marketing dollars and exposure and reach and meeting new people. And then let alone just being in the group of friends that I have and have made and continue to make, frankly, at these shows, which is always fun. So I would consider the Toronto Timepiece show a success. It was great. I believe and I hope I'm not breaking any news or speaking out of school, but I believe they're going to be doing another show, not only in Toronto next year, but rumor has it that there might be one in Vancouver. I don't know that I'll do it. I'm still kind of up in the air. Part of it is because I didn't make a ton of money in Toronto, to be honest, and also shipping to Canada is the worst thing on the planet because of their import duties. UPS is god-awful, and this is just to anybody out there looking to start a business who may or may not be inside or outside of Canada that's looking to... This is not a vent. This is just information. So really, it's one of those things where if you buy a $100 item from Standard H, you pay the $30 international shipping. It'll inherently cost me $45 or $50 to send it to you. So that's none too pleasing. And then the Canadian government will charge you another 30% or higher, maybe, to import that $100 item. So you're already $130 in for the shipping and the product. And then the Canadian government will charge you another 30%. So you're paying $160 for a $100 item if you live in Canada. Now, obviously, the more you buy, the better the deal that is because the shipping charges doesn't change. It does on my end, however. So it's just dealing with Canada is a little loosey-goosey for me. If I can find a better way, and God knows if anybody out there can help me find a better way to import goods into Canada, I would love that. Because obviously I have fans there. I've had people buy stuff and then complain later that they got taxed too high. And newsflash, that's not a me problem. I didn't vote for it. I don't live in Canada. Sorry. I've had another friend in Canada also say that, well, that's what you expect as a Canadian resident because no matter who you shop through, that's going to happen. So it's not a Standard H problem or fault, which, I try to hang my hat on being fair and trying to charge what I think I need to charge to run a viable business, and certainly want to make it easier for anybody, which is why I do a flat rate shipping charge that again, I lose money on those 99% of the time. So I could either raise my shipping rates or just strip everything away from international shipping. I don't know. That has crossed my mind, but I have clients in the UK and all over Europe, so I really don't want to have to do that. So Canada's tricky. It's really, really, really tricky. So I doubt I will do Toronto Timepiece Show again. I doubt I will do Vancouver. I hate to say it. The group is great. Jason, who runs the show, is so nice. But yeah, unfortunately, that was the result, even though the experience was great. Had I gone gangbusters and made 10x my investment, I would be there 100%. I'm not sure it makes smart business sense right now. But that was at the end of September. To catch everybody up on the rest of the travel, as you may have been following, been kind of all over the place. 4 times in the Eastern Standard Time here from California. I think 4 times in like 6 weeks. So it was a lot of red-eye flights, a lot of back and forth, but a lot of fun, a lot of just having a blast, growing the brand, shaking hands, kissing babies, all the rest of that stuff. Philadelphia I went to. I filmed with Tim Masso, which was an absolute pleasure. Tim is a consummate professional. In fact, he's going to be coming back on my show in the very near future. In fact, we are scheduled to record tomorrow morning. So a little heads up there on a guest that's coming. I've got several guests coming up that I'm super, super excited about, which I guess I'll keep under wraps for now, just in case scheduling goes awry, as it's known to from time to time. But I was in Philadelphia. I went to Pittsburgh actually as well. A very dear friend of mine from high school lives in Pittsburgh, and his name's Chris. Shout out Sea-Dog Chris from high school. I've known that guy, God, almost 30 years, which is just mind-boggling to think about. And so visited him in Pittsburgh. I'd never been to Pittsburgh before. The weather was incredible. I toured Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water, which has actually been, you probably saw the photos on my posts or on my Instagram, hopefully. That is a trip I'd wanted to do since learning about that house at the ripe age of 11 years old. I've been wanting to go to that house for over 30 years and finally made that pilgrimage. Chris and I went together. We both just had an amazing time. Again, the weather was exquisite. It was perfect. I couldn't have asked for a better fall day in Pennsylvania. And then made my way over to Philly, where I recorded with Tim. If you hadn't checked that out, it is on YouTube, on the 1916 Company's YouTube channel. It's a Talking Watches episode, effectively. And like I said, Tim is just the consummate pro. He's just such a good dude. Epitome of an encyclopedia of a human being. I mean, his knowledge is just bonkers. So always a pleasure to see him, talk to him, and just listen to him. Frankly, it's a kick for me. And then a couple weeks later, or the very next week, I think it was, I went to New York. And so in New York, it was kind of a precursor event that I did with Analog Shift, which I believe I had announced in the last pit stop. Maybe not. We did a limited edition hat. Did you go to Kentucky Knob? It is near Falling Water. No, we did not. I think I saw a sign for that. Anagram of Gray. We did not go to Kentucky Knob. Kentucky Knob? I don't know. I did not go there, no matter what it's called. I apologize. But in New York, I did this event with Analog Shift. James Lambden, the founder, obviously a very good friend of mine, did this hat that was kind of cool. It said, wind your watches, shift your gears. It was just a fun project that we did together. Great turnout for the event. It was on Thursday night, right before Wind Up Watch Fair began. And we had several people come through the doors. It was a packed house. It was catered. I had a booth there. I had actually brought multiple suitcases so that I had stuff that you could physically take with you. I I'm trying to do that more and more so that I can mitigate some of the shipping charges and you having to wait for product. And so kind of what I've been doing preceding events now is sending out emails, sort of putting out the bat signal of, hey, if you're able to make this event, please do tell me that you're coming. And if there's a particular product, and more specifically a particular size you're looking for, I can bring that for you. Now, granted, I can't do that for 300 people, but I mean, that would be the dream. In fact, if I could pre-sell 300 items in a night, that would be insane. And I'll figure that out if that happens. But it's cool. I had several people come through to that event in New York and pick up their sweatshirt or pick up their Willie shirt jacket. And it was great. We had an absolute blast. There was some whiskey had, some old fashions drank. It was just great. It was super fun. The rest of the weekend was insane. Again, perfect weather. Just completely lucked out, really. Ran into some friends, saw some friends, a couple celebrity spottings that weekend. It was just fun. I always have a blast in New York. And again, the dream of one day having a shoebox apartment in the West Village still stands. So we'll see. Maybe that'll happen eventually. The next trip was to the Caribbean, actually. My wife and I went together. We hadn't been on a trip, just the two of us, in quite some time. And she, in fact, had a conference there. So I tagged along, and we kind of hopped around between. We were based out of Tortola for the first time. And then we went over to, what's the name of the British Virgin Island? It's got all the tunnels and or caves rather. I'm totally blanking right now. But anyway, so we left Tortola, went over to St. Thomas, and stayed at the Westin there, which was fun. And she had her conference there, and then we hopped over to St. John for a day as well. So that was cool. That was my first time ever going to the Caribbean. Again, if you've watched my posts on Instagram, you'll know that I mentioned this trip already, and that, growing up on the East Coast, I knew a lot of people that would go down there with their families on vacation and such, and I'd never been. And my wife, having grown up in California, it's kind of a trek. It took us about 16 hours to get there, so Hawaii is a lot closer in a 5-hour flight. So, so that was great. Typical Caribbean weather in November, if I had to guess. It's kind of the tail end of hurricane season. So we had several storms come through, which was kind of fun. We got woken up one night by crazy thunder and lightning, which was nuts. There was a gap right in our blinds, in the curtains in the room. And I just remember this bolt of lightning that was perfectly in what was probably an inch of room between our curtains. The bolt of lightning was split the difference, and it was just kind of crazy to see after having been woken up at 2:30, 3 in the morning, which was fun. But great trip. Got back. Outside of that, I guess, let's see, what else? I guess that's it for really the catch-up type of stuff. One thing I would like to mention, for a while, I've had it in my brain to start a video series on YouTube, really about product videos. So, why I've done what I've done, the details behind the designs, the choices I've made, things of that nature. Just really go in depth and explain the product. And then, of course, those videos will not only live on YouTube, but I can also host them, hopefully, on the product pages as well. So I realize not many people are down to read the product descriptions, because based on a lot of the emails I get, clearly some of these descriptions are useless. But on the same note, I think video content is maybe a little more preferred by many, and including me, frankly. I watch a ton of YouTube. I barely watch television. So from that perspective, I totally get it. I'm with you. And so that will hopefully go on. I'd like to start before 2025, frankly, doing those videos, but I have a distinct feeling it's probably, even if I film them before 2025, I also got to figure out on how to edit and do all the rest of that, which is a joy of doing this, frankly, which is completely unedited and obvious when you listen to this back as a podcast. So the video things will come. I think that's been something I wish I had started that day one, frankly, because I'd probably have like a YouTube channel, like a legit channel considered now, had I done that in 2016 or whenever it was. But I just kept putting it on the back burner, and I'd really rather not do that continuously. So be on the lookout for that. Again, those videos can also get chopped up here for Instagram, for Reels and things like that, which I've been awful about. Like, I just, Reels is, something important for the algorithm, I guess, for Instagram, and I've just completely dodged it, and it's completely my fault. And it's just, I think photos, or I'm thinking video, or I'm thinking podcasts, and I'm thinking, it's just like, it's hard for me to think of everything all at once and multitask in that manner, because multitasking creatively multitasking is kind of like an interesting thing to even think about. Grant, hello, mate. Hope all is well in London, sir. Congrats on the 10 years also for the shop there on Bond Street in London. Major accomplishment. Super excited for everything IWC is doing right now. It'll be interesting to see what happens with, and congratulations on what's the GPHG award. That was another thing that was incredible and insanely well-deserved as well. Like, yeah. So hope all is well, Grant. Thanks for saying hi. Let's see. Doing those videos though, I will say, like, doing these sometimes can be kind of uncomfortable because, well, this is unscripted, so I've just like checked all ego at the door for these. But, when something's going to live forever on YouTube, that's kind of where it's going to get maybe a little more tricky. So though I'm going to be extremely uncomfortable about doing that, I think I need and want to anyway, because I think it will be helpful, especially from the product description standpoint. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to try to view it through the lens of having fun as much as humanly possible, which I think will end up being a ton of fun. I'm sure it will get easier as time goes on too, let alone with like, the editing process and such, since I've never edited video before. SoCal Watch Reviews. What's up, brother? Hey, man. Thanks for dropping in and saying hello. So that's kind of the travel stuff, caught up videos. Let's see. Gearing up for the holidays. I'm really excited about that for a few different reasons. One is, if you're watching this, thanks for paying attention or listening to this as a podcast, because I am actually going to tease it here first. I'm going to be having a Black Friday sale for the first time ever, in like a proper sense. I think I've like done a discount for like a day before, in previous years, but this is going to be like a proper sale. It's going to be 5 days long. It'll start on Thanksgiving and go all the way through Monday. So what is that? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah. So 5 days. So if you're not on the email list, please join the email list. Just go to standard-h.com, sign up for the emails there, because if you sign up for emails there, you will be notified immediately when those sales and promotions and things go on. And in addition to that, throughout the year, as an email subscriber, and if you're already on the list, I apologize because you're well aware already, but discount codes and product promotions and things of that nature will pop up from time to time throughout the year, because as a subscriber to the email, I think you deserve something that the general public may or may not be privy to. So that's cool. There goes the holiday budget. Anagram of Gray. I hope so. Do me a solid and buy some stuff. Frankly, but I'm happy to put it on promotion. I sent out an email recently about low stock levels in some of the products. So the next sort of progression of of low stock is just putting things on promotion, trying to get through it, because some of this stuff, frankly, is not going to return. This stuff needs to go. It's been online for a little long now, longer than I anticipated, or more than I'd like to admit, and that's fine. So some of these things that were meant to be seasonal colors, in other words, have just been a little long in the tooth online. But a lot of it too is just size dependent. Like if you're a size small, gosh, you got a ton of stuff to choose from. I think still there's a lot of smalls that I have come to find out that my customer does not wear a size small very routinely. So much so that a lot of times when I'm producing these products, I literally only produce like 2. Because like 18 people will be a size medium and 45 will be an extra large. And the 2 people that wear a small, so I only have so much money to go into the production of things. So I don't want to be producing things that aren't going to sell. And that's, again, I'm always trying my best to come back to what makes the smartest business sense for the brand and production and such. So be on the lookout for all of that stuff. Excited to share it with you. What else? So there's going to be that sale. In fact, tomorrow there's going to be not a pre-sale, but there will be things that are going to be like marked down. And then when the sale rolls around towards the end of the month, then that discount's actually going to stack on top of the things that are going to be starting to be a little, the prices will be slashed tomorrow, not in a huge sense, but when the discount stacks later in the month, you bet your bottom dollar. But the risk you take is whether or not your size is still available. So keep that in mind. Is it worth it to wait to potentially miss out? I don't know. Only you can make that call. But of course, no pressure. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. The other big news, I guess I should share right now, is I finally realized a dream of mine that's been looming for 20 years. And I finally got a Porsche 911 last week. I can't explain to you how excited I am. It is a 2007 model year 997.1. Thank you so much, Grant. Really appreciate it, man. I know you're with me in spirit on this one. I know you are. But it's an exciting time. I've wanted one for 20 years. Little known fact, I was selling Audi and Porsche when this model came out, and wanted one ever since. And so it's kind of nervous. I'm kind of even nervous to talk about it because I can't believe it's happening, or it happened. It's in my garage. I've been out there 3 times today just to look at the thing. It's like, it's a sickness, and it's kind of like a new watch, really. And I'm so tickled with it. Many of you may or may not know that I'd been on the hunt for well over a year. I was looking for something specific. I was looking for a 997. I wanted tan interior. I wanted the lobster claw wheels, which hilariously earlier today, Cars and Bids / Doug DeMuro posted the worst wheels ever designed. And they were having their different takes. It was like Doug and Kenan, and Doug immediately starts the video with how awful the lobster claw wheels are. But the funny thing about that is when I was selling these cars, I hated these wheels. I was like, these things look awful. Somewhere along the line in the last 20 years, they grew on me. And more recently than even 10 years ago. It was kind of a recent thing. And it's like, I can't even explain it. It's inexplicable as to why I now find these to be my favorite wheels on a 997. And I don't know. I guess if I were to do a dive, and again, I'm guessing, I think the reason I feel this way is because they're unlike any other wheel. So they automatically become special for that reason, I think. And it's interesting, to know that something that didn't really exist before it and certainly hasn't existed after it. But like if you're talking about how a wheel can make a car, I mean, I've always subscribed to that. If the right wheels are on even the wrong car, it can make it look better. And so Grant, I totally agree with you. The wheel style really suits the 997 and look unique. I couldn't agree with you more. And if you look at like an HRE P101, and for those who don't know what that is, Google it. It's HRE is the wheel company. They're based actually not far from my house. And they make some of the sickest wheels on the planet, bar none. And if I were to ever replace wheels on a car and had like the budget to do it, HRE is the only brand I would buy. I mean, unless you're like a full-flown, like, full-fledged rather, like BBS person, like I totally get that too. But they have the P101s, and that wheel is unreal. And would it look good on a 997? Absolutely. Does it look good on a 991? Of course. Yeah, I mean, it's just such a sick wheel. But the lobster claws to me are so unique, and I think that's what makes them special. I mean, there's only so many 10-spoke, 5-spoke wheels that you could have. And Grant, since you're here, the wheels you got, I don't even know what they're called, but they're like, do you even know what they're called if you're still around? I don't know if you're still on. But if they're like really, it's like almost like spider web or something. It's not like a 100-spoke wheel or anything like that you'd see on like a vintage, Lincoln. But I can't remember the name of that wheel that is on the 992 right now. But they are RS Spider wheels. Okay, so Spider. So I said spider web. So I wasn't too off. So the RS Spider wheel is probably my favorite modern wheel outside of maybe the Turbo S wheel, because that one's crazy. But anyway, needless to say, I could go down a rabbit hole of wheels, but I would say the lobster claws are a divisive wheel. They're definitely kind of polarizing, and I happen to love them. So there you have it. And I'm going to have some special things I'd like to do with the car. Frankly speaking, people who have done trunk shows in the past with their cars, and that I've done trunk shows with my Volkswagen, my GTI, I will continue to do similar presentations, but in the Porsche world, you don't have a trunk, you have what's called a frunk. And I just think having a frunk show sounds fun. I think I was telling this to somebody yesterday, and they were like, yeah, man, get frunky with it. So shout out Sean, who I played golf with yesterday. So anyway, so it's all tongue-in-cheek, all fun stuff. The other thing is I'm thinking about doing this too, which I may or may not announce during... I'll probably announce it over email. And that's basically the fact that I'm actually borrowing something that John Ferrer did last year with Brew watches. And he has a red over tan Ferrari F8 Tributo. And he dressed up like Santa Claus. So if you were in the immediate New York City area last year and you bought a Brew, he was delivering your watch in his red Ferrari, which is hilarious, and dressed like Santa Claus. So for Black Friday, knowing that I wear a lot of black and my car happens to be black, I'm thinking anybody who lives in Los Angeles South, if you order something on Black Friday, I think I want to load up the car on Saturday and hand deliver it to you. So you're going to get your Black Friday deal hand delivered out of a black car by Wesley dressed in all black. So that's a nod to John and my good buddy at Brew, and then also just a way for me to get in the car and enjoy driving around on a weekend. And I just think it sounds fun, and doing things like that are what this is really all about, frankly. I want to enjoy the car. I want to enjoy my business. I want to be able to sell some stuff. And if you can experience Standard H in a unique way, that's awesome. I think it'd be super fun. And if you're worried about, me coming to your house we can meet at a coffee shop. There are no boundaries here. We can, or if there are boundaries, we can make new ones, and work around them. So that's really, frankly, kind of most of what I wanted to talk about outside of the 4 questions I was asked. I got today. So yeah, we can jump right into that so that this episode isn't an hour long like the last one. The first question I got was, have you thought about making more NATO straps with Strap Habit? Absolutely. First and foremost, 20 millimeter straps are being produced right now. So be on the lookout for those coming back. Of course, they'll be in taupe. Now, to interpret this question a different way, I wasn't sure if this person, it's Chris.McNew. You asked the question. So if you are actually asking, would we do different types of straps as opposed to just making more of what we've already made? I read it that way. So my answer is yes, we are making more, but only in the 20 millimeter size. They just sell better. I mean, it's just, again, going back to smart business sense, right? As far as different styles go, I don't have anything really in mind currently that isn't perhaps already done well by somebody else. Nick and I have sort of touched on this, and if we did another NATO, I guess we could do John at Brew Watches. If that's you, as opposed to George, let me know, because I just gave you a huge shout out a moment ago. So you just missed it. But happy to see you, man. I hope you're doing well. I've talked to Nick a little bit about doing straps. We are going to put our heads together as to what we could do different. Or if you guys want the same strap, but not in taupe, and you're like, we would really love to see it in black, or I don't know, olive drab, or, like a military green of such, or something like that, like, let me know, because there's nothing that we can't do. I did the taupe first because I'm personally selfishly obsessed with taupe. But on top of that, it's like nobody else is really making a strap in that color that I've found. And if they are, I don't know about it. So that made it unique, and it was a cool collaborative thing for Nick at Strap Habit and I to do together. But yeah, look, I am open. If you guys are wanting to buy stuff and I can make it for you, that's literally why I'm here. Like, this is meant to be fun. It's meant to be communal. The watch thing in association with the apparel that I make is literally just, I look at it as a bonus, and it's super fun. So the answer is yes. The next question is, any tips for choosing the watch dial color to best complement an outfit? So choosing a watch dial color to complement an outfit. I have a feeling I'm overthinking this. Thank you. You might be overthinking it, because I guess it could go one of two ways. You either want to match or you want to go opposite. But as long as it complements your outfit, I think that's the thing. So if you are wearing a bunch of black, clearly a black dial will go well with it. But to go the opposite way, a white dial will go well with it as well. Frankly, if you're wearing black, almost any dial will work. Even like the Doxa that I've got, the aquamarine color, is killer with black. I guess a good way to look at watch dial color too, when you're thinking about pairing it with an outfit, traditionally I would say, hypothetically, if you were to change the strap on your watch, whatever the strap color is that you would put on that watch is probably the same vibe and or color you could wear on your person. So if you have a teal dial, chocolate brown looks great with a teal dial. So would black. So if you have chocolate brown strap on your watch, then I would say it's a pretty safe bet that like chocolate brown, maybe suede loafers would look good with your outfit. So, there's ways to complement it for sure. Accessory ideas, watch rolls, bracelets, bands to match watch and or standard age colors. Oh yeah, Grant. That's I'm not going to say I'm a step ahead of you. only because no development has happened, but we'll talk offline because I think there's a lot there for sure, 100%. Eric, hi, thanks for joining, my man. Hope you're doing well up north. It's good to see you. So yeah, I mean, as far as pairing your watch dial with your outfit, I mean, that's where I stand. I think either do it immediately, like with the same color that you're wearing, or do something that's complementary. So, usually when I'm wearing navies, I'm going to wear brown. I'm not wearing black shoes with navy. It looks too much, forgive the pun, but like a bruise, black and blue is just like not something that I really wear a lot with. Now, traditionally with a suit, I think a dark navy suit, if you're a New Yorker and you're really, really old school, black Oxfords with a navy suit is appropriate, not these like light tan shoes that were popular 7 years ago. I think that it looks awful, frankly. Okay, so hopefully that helped, that question from D4 Patch. Next question. All right, what's it like to own a 997? Well, I'm less than a week in, so I guess this is an evolving answer, but it's a dream come true. Like, I've wanted this car for 20 years. Like I said, I finally got it last Thursday. The custom license plate is going to be ordered this week. Apparently, it's a 9-month wait list. The prisoners are working rather slowly, is what I gather. But we do appreciate their work on these cool license plates. Oh God. But yeah, it's amazing. The clutch feels great. Of course, it's a manual. The tan interior is perfect. It's everything I wanted and more. It's got a Alcantara suede headliner, so you really get that suede look of the highs and lows in the color. It's a real caramelly brown, so it's not like an old school BMW where the tan could have been like a really light tan. It's a much more orangey, caramelly sort of tan interior. It's called sand beige. So if you want to Google sand beige Porsche interior, that's the color. And I guess I failed to mention, the outside of the car is black. And to my understanding, it's just called black. I think Basalt Black didn't come until the 997.2, if I'm not mistaken. Mine being a 2007 is a .1, so it was just called, I believe, A1 Black or Black. It's not a metallic paint. It's just black. So timeless. I wanted old man country club spec, and that I got. And so I'm super, super stoked with it. It drives incredibly. And going from a GTI, I guess this will kind of piggyback on the previous answer. What's it like to own? Going from a GTI to a 911 is, it's a trip, because it's a multitude of things. The steering in a 911 is just like incredible. Like, it's so well done and well engineered. It's the best. Where the difference in driving, I was talking to my buddy Raymond about this at Cars and Coffee on Saturday. The driving of the two cars, because, they're both small cars, obviously. They're almost identical in weight, actually. I think they're both right around 3,100 pounds. And the major difference really is the weight distribution. You've got it in the back in the 911, the front in the GTI. So to get traction in a 911, you got to step on it because you want all the weight in the back. Whereas you'll encounter some understeer potentially in the GTI. So they drive differently, but like oddly, like you I don't know. They got that like German thing going, which I'm obsessed with. And it's cool. Like, my wife's not tickled because she can't drive manual, so she's not super stoked on the fact that I now have two cars she can't drive. but that's okay. I want to drive my GTI, frankly, like into the ground. And then if and when I need one, I think I would really like to get an Audi, a wagon of some sort. And I know this does not come as a surprise to anybody listening to this. if you've ever heard me speak about cars before. So, I mean, yeah, I think a 997 in the garage alongside like an Audi Avant of some variation is like the perfect 1-2 for me. Now, granted, I would love like, I don't know, a Cayenne or something like that, but I think I'd go wagon over SUV, frankly. The last question, favorite modern classic, not a 997. Okay, so P-Car Chicago asking this question. I'm assuming you just mean not a Porsche as well, because to me, the 997 is the modern classic Porsche, frankly. I'm a huge Ferrari fan, so a modern classic Ferrari, I gotta go F12. That's just visually, as a guy who's also driven by aesthetics, like the F12 is one of the most beautiful modern classic cars, I would say. And I've ridden in one. I've never driven an F12, but I've been in the passenger side, and I must say that car never wants to stop. Like, it just, when you're getting on an on-ramp, and I just remember as a passenger being like, we were merging onto a freeway, and then by the end of the on-ramp, I think we were doing 112 miles an hour. And it felt like A, nothing. B, the sound was unreal. And then I think we got it up to like 120, 127. Grant, yeah, F12 TDF, 100%. Couldn't agree more. But if you want a more like gentleman, less track focused, like doing like a Fiorano red F12 is just kind of like, that's it. Or maybe even do like a blue posi, like go like way back if you're doing like a PTS situation, doing like a deep navy. I mean, a navy blue Ferrari or blue Scuro. I should have probably said blue Scuro considering my t-shirt is that, but I mean, a navy over tan Ferrari F12, good Lord. That's it, you know? Speaking of that's it, that's my answer to that question. That's 4 questions I got today. I think I've been speaking almost for 45 minutes, so I'm gonna hop off here. Grant, love to have you on with all the feedback and the ping ponging of conversation, man. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I know it's getting late your time. Yeah, guys, hit me with any questions. Hope you enjoyed this update. Really appreciate you taking the time. Be on the lookout for several emails over the next 2 weeks on several different fronts. And hope to catch you in the next one. Next podcast guest is coming next Tuesday. So this as a true pit stop, it's kind of the in-between episode between last week's show and next week's show. So stay tuned. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it, guys. Take care.